Welcome, everyone. I see that people have been on here waiting. We've got our webinar tonight on facilitated real estate. We've got a few more minutes until it's start time. I want to just come on and let you know that we're ready to roll. I actually don't see anyone in just yet. I see 0 viewers, but sometimes it takes a little while for that to populate. So as they come aboard, we'll welcome them, and I'm going to pull up some controls so that we can see. There we go. Okay, so everyone received an email yesterday about a reminder for the webinar tonight, and we are glad to see that you were able to make it. We're going to wait just a couple minutes longer for us to get a couple more stragglers that said that they would be coming in just a smidge late. So welcome, everyone. My name is Sandy Hatch, if you remember. I hope you did, from the grand opening. We're excited to be here with you, and I'm really anxious to hear a lot of the things that Stephen's going to be presenting to us today on facilitated real estate. So we're going to wait just another minute or so, and then we'll get started. Today, I don't know where everybody's at. Here in Bountiful, we had a downpour, and I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of something that was even more than a downpour, and I realized that I had a sprinkler head that had broken and flooded part of my basement. So it was a real serious downpour today where I'm at. So we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Sandy Hatch. Again, welcome everybody. Today we're going to have a webinar by Stephen Michael Miller and on facilitated real estate, and I am really excited to talk about this as an important topic that really hit home for me. The reason why it hit home for me personally is because I was in a situation where 2008 clobbered me, and financially I had to look for alternatives for making up lost ground to be able to accomplish my goals for retirement. And real estate, in the way that they do it here, is just a fantastic way to do that. So what I'm going to do is introduce Stephen Michael Miller to you. He's passionate about helping entrepreneurs, business owners, families, associations, organizations, and youth to live better and more productive lives. Stephen is an internationally known expert and speaker. He's the co-founder of Strongbrook, a company dedicated to empowering personal and financial success, using their proprietary facilitated wealth system along with their line of limitless programs and products. He's also been featured on in Real Estate Solutions magazine, and is a key contributor to the book, The Straight Path to Real Estate Wealth. His proven ability to creatively help people achieve greater results both personally and financially has revolutionized the businesses and lives of professionals and families worldwide. Please welcome Mr. Stephen Michael Miller. I'm going to turn the time over to you, Stephen.
Awesome. Hey, Sandy, thank you so much. First of all, can you hear me okay?
I think we just barely got you on.
Okay, so can you hear me all right now?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Well, hey, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it, and there's not much that I'm more passionate about when it comes to financial wellness than what we're going to talk today about in terms of real estate. And, when we talk about real estate, there are so many different directions that you can go. I used to work for a company that sold real estate education. And just to give you a little bit of history here and why we are doing what we're doing today is when we were selling this real estate education, a lot of the big guru names, a lot of the people that you've probably heard of were coming through this office that I worked for. Now, this wasn't my company. This was a company that, as I was a college kid, I was working for, trying to earn a little bit of a living and prepare myself for marriage and kids. And fast forward now 9 years, I've got, well, not 9 years. Let's see. Fast forward now 13 years. I've got 7 kids, and oldest is 12, youngest is 2. But going back there, you know, it was interesting. We were working with some of the biggest names in the industry, people like Robert Kiyosaki, people like Donald Trump University, Dolph DeRoos, Robert Allen, uh, and many others, you know, a lot of the bigger names that you may have heard of. And we were selling their financial education, their real estate education, their kind of coaching and mentoring packages. And one of the most interesting thing for me when I was going through that whole system and as we were selling those systems is I came to a point where I found out what the success rates were. And we were selling packages that would range anywhere from $5,000 on up to $60,000 for these mentoring and education packages. And the reality is that less than 2% of the people that would spend that kind of money ever had anything to show for it, ever had a property to show for it, and much less a property that was producing for them. So I got really disenchanted by the whole idea of education and the way that the marketplace was set up, because I just felt like it wasn't really set up to help people succeed. I left that company, went my way. My business partner today, or one of my business partners anyway, who I had worked for, he called me up a couple years later and said, "Stephen, I'm actually doing a lot of real estate, and your name keeps coming to mind as someone that I'd like to go into business with. I feel like I need some help, and you're the right person for the job," kind of thing. You know, will you come out and partner up with me? And at the time, I was kind of in a position where, first of all, I was wondering, you know, hey, are you trying to sell me something? You know, is this another program that you're selling, or are you really doing it? We had several different conversations, and I came to find out that he had taken a lot of that learning and did what less than 2% of people do, which is actually implemented it. And he actually was seeing the success from it. So we had several conversations. The timing wasn't right in our initial conversation. Probably a year and a half or so later, timing was right. I decided to move my family out from Tampa, Florida area out to Utah, to Orem, Utah. And we started doing a lot of real estate, bringing on clients, and I shouldn't say clients, we were bringing on partners at first. And what happened was probably the natural progression. People came to us and said, "Hey, you're doing a lot of real estate. Will you help us? Will you teach us?" And because of our history, our knee-jerk reaction was to say, "No, we don't want to teach you, because we don't want to be those guys. We don't want you to point the finger at us and say, 'Hey, this real estate didn't work. It's your fault, and real estate stinks.'" You know, we didn't want to be in that position. So we would say no. We would say no. We just don't want to teach. But eventually, these random phone calls that we were getting probably about once a week started to come about almost every day, and sometimes multiple times a day. We were getting random phone calls from people saying, "Hey, we have this need. We really want to learn what you guys are doing. Will you teach us?" And so finally we said, "Look, can we do something different? Can we, rather than teach people just the information, can we give them some stepping stones? Can we actually put them in a system that will work for them, where that system is set up to help them succeed for real, not just to give them good information and say good luck, but to hold their hand throughout the process and to really plug them into a system that is designed for their success?" So that's what we set out to do. And it was amazing as we watched our first clients go through our system that we had created that was working so well for us and our partners, and watch it work the exact same way for them, and watch them have the same success, and watch them acquire properties that were cash flowing and increasing their net worth, and doing all these different things that were getting them to accomplish the financial goals and the retirement goals that they wanted in the first place. So it was really exciting for us to really watch that all take place. So what I want to do is I'm gonna go ahead and do a screen share here. Let me make sure I can pull this up. Bear with me for just a second. I know you may not see me at the moment, but it'll be up here in just a sec. All right, so can you see that okay?
Yeah, that looks good.
All right, perfect. So I want to talk about this real estate. And really, for us, what it comes down to is, how are we managing our finances? How are we creating financial freedom? And truly, not just creating, but management, protection, and the growth of all these different things. We have to be aware of how it's working for us and what we're doing there. Whoops, let me get back to that. So the reality that I found out is that 90% of American millionaires may have made their money in real estate. And if that's the case, then why aren't more of us doing real estate, right? Well, what is it that keeps us from it? Well, one of our top advisors in our company that we've been talking to and has been helping us in a variety of different ways for the past probably 5 or 6 years, um, he's a rocket scientist. Literally, he's a rocket scientist. And as we have gotten to this conversation with him, and we've kind of gone back and forth a little bit. One of the things that he has said and we've pointed out is, you know what, real estate really is a lot like rocket science. I mean, it really is constantly moving and shifting and changing, and there's a million different moving pieces and parts. And it's not all just really simple like they make it out to be on the TV shows, right? And if you turn on the TV and you turn on HGTV or History Channel or whatever those channels are, you'll find all these different, flip this house and flip that house and flipping houses. And I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 different shows that teach you how to flip, which, by the way, is one of the scariest forms of real estate that you can do. One small wrong move can mean you lose $100,000 kind of thing. And so the reality is that the reason why most people aren't involved in real estate, although it can make you a lot of money, is because it can also lose you a lot of money. And we got very, very clear on that. We realized that unless you are truly passionate about real estate, chances are you're going to sabotage it, and it's just not going to work for you. So my question here is what does financial freedom mean for you? Well, for me, you can see that right here up at the top of the screen. It says residual income exceeding expenses. Now, residual income exceeding expenses is a very simple definition to me of financial freedom. That just means that you've got money coming in, right? You can see it right there, income that's continuously generated after an initial investment of time, money, and effort. That's residual income. The reality is 99% of us don't have any residual income. And although we may know what it is, the fact that we don't have it means we don't really understand how to get it appropriately. We're not doing the right things. So it's this whole concept and idea of getting to a point when our residual income is greater than our expenses so that we don't have to go to work. It's not a necessity anymore. We aren't bound, or we're not chained to this idea of going to work for somebody else to build their dream, right? We can start to spend our time doing the things that we love most. This is what true financial freedom is. So I've got a little thing up here. You can see this question: who has the most financial freedom? And at first glance, if you were just to look at their income, you see you've got a doctor here maybe on the left, right? She's earning $250,000 a year. We've got a general contractor earning $86,000 a year, and a teacher earning $40,000 a year. Now, out of those three, just at the first glance, who would you like to most emulate? Well, I think we'd all probably agree we'd love to be like the doctor here, right? We'd like to be earning $250,000 a year. She's a top 1%er. Absolutely. Why not? Why wouldn't we want that kind of income? But let's dig a little deeper. You can see they've got different assets here. The doctor has $450,000 of combined assets. That may be an IRA or a 401k. Maybe that's gold or silver. Who knows what she's investing in right now exactly? But those are very typical. Maybe she's even paying off her primary residence, right? And so that could be added in there as an asset maybe. We've got the general contractor here who has $1 million of raw land, which looks really great on paper. And then we also have the teacher here. The teacher's got something that the other two don't. The teacher has 10 rental properties. Well, let me unveil here what we're not seeing, what we're missing, which is this third column, which is the residual income column, right? The other two don't have any residual income, but the teacher has $3,800 a month of residual income. That means if she could not go back to work tomorrow, or if a child got sick and she had to take care of that child, or whatever the case, right? Life happens to all of us. But if she were in some sort of financial pinch where she couldn't go back to work, the reality is that pinch, she wouldn't even feel it because there wouldn't be one for her. She has true financial freedom in the form of residual income. So the question is how do we do this, right? And this is really the conversation between these three different types of income. We've got earned income, trading time for money. We've got net worth, which has to be converted to cash flow. And then, of course, we've got residual income. That's where the true financial freedom comes from. So here's this question. If you stopped working today, how long could you last before you had to go back to work? For most of us, this is a question that we haven't really thought about much. So think about it for a second. If you stopped working today, how long would you last? Would it be a week? Would you last a year? Would you last a couple days maybe? I mean, where are we? And the reality that I've seen is that for a lot of us, we're kind of behind the 8 ball a bit. For a lot of Americans, we're spending 100 to 110% of what we're earning. That means we're going into debt. right? We're taking on credit cards. Maybe we're getting home equity lines of credit. We're doing all these different things because we're trying to get ahead, or we're trying to do things. And hopefully some of us were using those things for a good purpose and investing our money wisely. But for most of us, the reality is we're just not. We're not where we need to be financially. And so when we're looking down this road of retirement or creating a legacy or even living the life that we want to right now, for most of us, it's not very much, it's not even a reality. It's not even in our view, because we haven't been doing those things that we need to do. So in other words, we've got to bridge a gap. And it's a pretty significant gap for some of us. So I want to talk about how we can do this. Number one, first of all, I want to make sure we are all on the same page here. If you wanted to generate a $5,000 per month retirement income, assuming a 4% annual dividend, you would need to accumulate or save up a minimum of $1.5 million. Now, it's a large sum of money, $1.5 million. And again, going back to what I said before, if most of us are spending 100% of what we're earning, or maybe 110% of what we're earning, this isn't very likely. Let me break it down for you real quick, just to help you understand it even more. This would mean that for 20 years, okay, if you got a pen and paper, write this down. Over a 20-year span, you would have to save $1,798 every single month for 20 years. Now, I haven't done the math on that yet, but maybe we should just pull up the calculator right here and do it. If you take, let me grab my trusty phone here, right? So if we're just to do the math on that real quick. So 12 months times 20 years, that's 240 months that you would have to save $1,798. Now, that's not even enough, because if you do the math, you'll see it doesn't work. What that means is you would actually have to not only be putting away that much every month, but you would have to invest it every single year at a 10.8% interest rate. That would compound, of course, for you, right? Year over year over year for 20 years. So, have I painted a bleak enough picture? Or do we understand that we've got to do something different here, right? We've got to get out of this norm. We've got to get out of doing everything that everyone's telling us to do, because the reality is this journey that we're all on, this thing that we do where we go to school, we get the job, we save for retirement, we put money away in our 401ks or IRAs, we spend down or buy down our home, hopefully to pay it off at some point free and clear 20, 30, 40 years down the road. This life, this journey that we're all on, it's just not working. So we've got to do something different to bridge this gap. And I want to talk about the two options that we provide that are providing a powerful opportunity and a powerful alternative that are helping a lot of individuals play catch up. First of all, before I even jump into this, let me help you understand who we are here at Strongbrook. We are a group of professionals. We've got over 200 licensed individuals who eat, breathe, sleep, love real estate. It is our passion. And we have a motto in our company. Our motto is, if you want something done right, that's right, don't do it yourself, right? If you want something done right, don't do it yourself, which is contrary to what most of us have been taught. We've all been taught that, hey, if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself, right? If you want to create something, or if you need a service, get out there and just do it yourself. We live in this DIY society, right? The do-it-yourself society, where all these different shows teach us how to fix our cars and fix our homes and, crash our backyards and whatever, right? They tell you all to do it yourself. Here's the problem with that, though, when we're coming into the financial realm. The problem with doing it yourself is, unless you are a highly trained professional and you know exactly what you're doing, it can be financial suicide. What's hard for me to see is I watch people all day long. Let me actually put it before I go there. Let me put it into perspective. If you were to all of a sudden, if you were somewhere, and I don't wish this on anybody, but just for the sake of an example, if your spleen were to all of a sudden burst, okay, or your appendix, let's just call it your appendix. If your appendix were to burst, and you were somewhere out in public, and you weren't right close to a hospital, you would have a couple choices, okay? There's a lot of choices, obviously, but let me give you two choices. Choice number one, you pull out your smartphone, and you look up on YouTube, appendix surgery. Emergency appendix surgery. Guaranteed, you go on there, you could probably find an amazing video, and you could get out a knife that you got in your backpack because you're an Eagle Scout, right? And so you're prepared, right? So you've got your knife in your backpack. You can pull it out, watch the video, and perform surgery on yourself. Now, if you didn't pass out, you might be able to follow that appropriately, but you probably wouldn't because you've never done it before, and you might kill yourself, right? Or you could pull out your phone instead, call 911, have someone life flight you to the nearest hospital and get it fixed for you, right? Now, one is going to be cheaper, right? It's a lot cheaper just to go on YouTube and take your knife and try it out. But the chances of you actually having a successful surgery are minimal, like very minimal chances. The reality is for all of us is we wouldn't do that. Like no one's going to pull out a knife and perform surgery on themselves unless there was absolutely no other option. We would call the best, we would call the professional, we'd call the doctor and hopefully get in touch with one who has done this, thousands of times. They've been, they performed a surgery over and over and over again. So we've got a level of confidence that because of their experience, it's going to be phenomenal. We're going to come out in the very best with the best chances. But the problem is most of us financially, we put ourselves on the financial operating table every day or multiple times in a year, and we'll go and we'll perform that surgery having no prior experience and we'll kill ourselves financially. We'll have massive setback after massive setback after massive setback. And we get to a desperate mode where, man, if we don't do something crazy, we're just not going to get it back, or we're not going to be able to earn our way there, or we're not going to be able to invest appropriately. We lose faith in ourselves. But what I want to introduce you here, what I want to talk about are options that we have that are real options that thousands of individuals across the nation right now are utilizing, that are putting into practice and are seeing some amazing results. These two options are amazing. First of all, our option oneers. And I know that no matter where I go and speak, I've traveled all across the nation. I've been to other parts of the world. And no matter where I go, I've got two different types of people. I've got our option oneers, people that want to learn it and do it themselves, which, by the way, those are the people that are really excited about real estate and they are passionate about doing it, right? They want to get in the weeds. But I also have our option number twoers. These are individuals that want to learn it still. They want to know the information, but they want it done for them. They know that they're busy. Like the doctor in that example, she's way too busy to get involved and jump in the weeds and do it, right? She's doing her own business, her own practice. She's doing what she's passionate about. For those type of individuals, we step up and we do it for you. But we've got options absolutely for both. So I want to talk about these options. Number one, option oneers. These are people that are learning it and doing it themselves, right? This is what we call our creative professional service agreement. This includes monthly trainings on how to do no money down deals the right way, how to transact deals in your backyard with big equity, how to identify the very best markets in which you want to transact, how to get paid thousands of dollars for bird dog networking without a license, right? How the money is really made when you flip deals, and the ins and outs of how to do that. Friends, as a company, we've flipped over 1,000 deals. We know what we're doing there. We know what works and what doesn't, and absolutely also know that may not be your favorite choice or your go-to choice, but you can make money if you know what you're doing. Another big part of this creative professional service agreement is you get access to certain things. Insider tips and tricks, online community, an elite mastermind with like-minded individuals who are all looking to create the same success for themselves through real estate, networking with other members to do deals, and of course, actual live deals that are available for purchase or participation at these different events and trainings that we hold. So again, this is for our option number oneers, and this is what we cover for them with our creative professional service agreement. Now, I also, of course, am going to have our option twoers, people that want to learn it and we do it for you. I talked about this group of our power team, our 200 experts that build your portfolio. And I want to be clear here, because this is probably for a lot of you going to sound too good to be true, but I'm going to invite you to put aside your skepticism for a moment and just listen. This is where we give you 100% of the profit, all the benefit, while we do 100% of the work. Now, again, I know that might sound too good to be true. I'll talk about what I mean there. And believe me, I am a capitalist. I believe in earning money, but I believe in doing it in a way where we get to benefit our clients just as much, actually a whole lot more. And we create this true win-win. If I can create 10 times or more the value for you, then I get to receive some value in return. And I'll show you how we've kind of set this up so you understand it better. Number one, before anyone gets started with us, we recommend that they receive a customized game plan from us. Now, this custom game plan really allows you to understand how we do what we do and if it's a good fit for you. It's that simple. It's giving you options that you don't even know that you have. Most people that walk away from the game plan say just that. And I've got this feedback over and over again, which is I didn't even know that that option was open for me. I didn't even know that I had that availability. And usually, because of our blind spots that we've got, because of past experiences in investing, because of past bad experiences more than good, we close certain things and certain doors. And so we've shut out availability, or we've shut out possibilities and don't even see them anymore. Well, we've been doing this for long enough where we understand that most individuals, for most people that come through our doors, we've got some options for them. We've got things that they can do to start their journey in real estate immediately. So this game plan is so crucial. Now, after you get your game plan, we go to work for you. We literally are finding the properties that fit into your game plan, right? This is our done for you approach, where we find it, we buy it, we fix it, finance it for you, help you get the proper financing in place, I should say. Then we help you to lease it out. We actually will lease it out for you. We'll manage it and maintain it for you. And then when you're ready for your exit strategy, we'll sell it for you. These are all things that we are doing for you. Again, you're not necessarily in the weeds. And where we make our money as a company, I told you I would get to this point, is we earn about 5% in your typical real estate fees with each transaction. In other words, we own the companies that support the entire done for you process. So we're not making these crazy markups on the properties. We're not partnering with you on these properties and saying, hey, give us 25% of each property. At the end of the day, we're actually doing a lot of real estate as a company as well. These are, though, your properties that you get 100%. We just make the typical fees that you'd be paying somebody anyway. And the neat part about that is we've taken all these different companies, and rather than them kind of fighting with each other, they work cohesively in cooperation to make your experience a smooth one. And, there's something to be said where when you don't have to, deal with the realtor, fighting with the mortgage lender, fighting with the title guy or whatever, fighting with the appraiser. It just doesn't happen because they're all working together in this cohesive manner. And it's just a phenomenal process there. So once you get started with us, we assign you a personal coach. And this is a crucial point of what we do here. That personal coach is going to sit down and design your game plan first of all. And actually, I'm going to just change this real quick. If you can see this, this is kind of funny. I skipped to number 6. Well, we'll get to that later. I jumped from 5 to 7. There are only 6 points here. But anyway, let's get back into it. So you design your custom game plan. We educate you on the growth and income markets. We help you identify, access, and leverage your assets. Here's one thing that kind of makes me crazy a little bit when I talk to people is they talk about where they have their assets. They talk about their 401ks, their IRAs, their home equity, the gold or whatever, precious metals maybe that they're purchasing. Maybe they've got it invested in the stock market, mutual funds, I don't know. But the concept that they want to leave it there because they're not earning very much, but they've been told to, and they think it's kind of safe, And to me, there's nothing less safe than arriving at retirement in a situation that you never wanted, in a situation that is less than what you wanted to create. Realizing that you just have to go back to work, right? Retiring just to realize you have to go back to work at Walmart or Target to make ends meet. That's less safe to me, right? That's not what any of us want. We want to create a legacy. We want to create a wonderful and thriving, amazing retirement now for us. J.B. Shea was a French economist. I believe it was either the 17th or 18th century, but he basically said that creating wealth is nothing more than taking your assets from areas of low yield and putting them into areas of high yield. That's it. And I know that sounds simple. A lot of you here are probably thinking to yourself, well, no duh, Stephen, right? But the reality is although we hear it and we understand it and we even agree with it, most of us will still keep our assets in these areas of low yield. And here's the kicker for most of us. If I were to tell all of you that I could earn you 100% on your money, what is the first thing that you would think of? If you got your chat window open, just throw it in right now. When I say that I can get you 100% on your money every single year, what would you automatically associate with that, or what would you think? Go ahead and chat it in there. Yeah, I see that. Something illegal. Absolutely. You'd probably think that. What else? What else would you think? Anybody else? Don't be shy. You guys can chat it in here if you want to. You can even do it if you don't want to. I'll let you do that too. All right. Well, if you're too shy to go ahead and answer, most things that I hear are, yes, illegal. This guy's a shyster. Look out for him, right? Or high risk. There's obviously going to be some massive risk associated with this. So most people think in order for me to get a really high return on my investment, I have to have a high risk associated with it. And so I don't want to do that. Well, let me help you understand something. Warren Buffett, who, if you don't know who Warren Buffett is, he's one of the wealthiest men in America. One of actually the wealthiest men in the world. And he has a very specific investment philosophy. He says, in order for me to invest wisely, in order for me to do something, before I do any type of investment, I follow a very specific strategy or principle, I should say, which is whatever I invest in has to have a large margin of safety. Now, does Warren Buffett earn massive returns on his investments? He absolutely does. So if he's earning a massive return on investment, but his philosophy is that he does not invest in anything unless it has a large margin of safety, then that just means that his investment philosophy is different than ours. We think high return equals high risk. He thinks high return equals the lowest risk possible. It's a difference in our mindset. But that difference in our mindset will determine our outcome, and it does every single time. So again, here at Strongbrook, we try to take the same philosophy as Warren Buffett. Let's help you identify, access, and leverage those assets that are currently in a low yield scenario and put them into a high yield scenario. Keeping the risk idea the same, right? Keeping that, we still want the low risk. And that's what we do here with real estate. We're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. We find and present the deals that fit your game plan. We facilitate the financing, and then you make the decisions. We just facilitate the execution of those decisions, right? We actually do the work for you. Most people that I know don't want to necessarily become the guru in real estate. They just want to take advantage of the benefits that real estate can offer, right? No one wants to come into it and say, I just want to be a landlord, and I want to get those phone calls at midnight. And no one wants those calls, right? But they want the benefits of what real estate can offer. The tax savings, the tax benefits, the cash flows, the increased net worth, the residual income. All these different things are what we want. And so Strongbrook has provided a system now where you can get that while letting go and getting rid of all of that hassle. So we'll talk more about that here in a minute as well. But what we really do is we specialize in a short-term buy and hold strategy of single-family homes that are bought below the median, with very strict parameters. Literally, our real estate fits into a very small box. If I can say it this way, we've created a widget kind of out of real estate, right? We just stamp it out and it looks the same every single time. It's on this kind of assembly line. And we do the exact same type of homes because we understand what our actual numbers are now. We just got our annual report back for this past year, and it's unbelievable. These aren't projections. These are real-time, real-life data of what we're doing for our clients, and the results are amazing. We've done hundreds of homes last year, and they all fit into a very, very small box. And what that does for us is it allows us to minimize the risk and maximize profits. Now, again, like I said before, I can't get rid of all risk, right? There's no investment out there where they can get rid of all the risk for you. But what a system does, and I love the word system. And if you've ever heard this, system stands for save yourself, SYS, right? Save yourself time, effort, and money. That's what a system is. And so what we've done is created a system around real estate based on these strict parameters. So I love it. I want to talk some more about that system and how we're able to do that. But really, at the end of the day, what we're trying to help the individual or the family do is start with one investment the right way. If I can help you get one investment done the right way, then I can help that investment pay for your next investment. This is powerful. This is where real estate can do some things that no other investment out there that I know of can, which is it can grow dynamically. I can literally have $1 working for me in multiple locations at the same time. Again, having your real estate buy more real estate for you rather than your back pocket buying more real estate for you. You can always, of course, accelerate that. If you've got, more money that you can use, you can, instead of starting with one, you can start with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or however many you want to. We do that all day long for people. But this power that real estate offers in providing an opportunity for you to grow your wealth, starting with one investment and allowing that investment to purchase your next, and those investments to purchase your next several, is so powerful. Now, oops, let me back up there. There we are. This is what it looks like over a 20-year period. If I can help you start with just 2 properties in your first year, over 20 years, I can turn those 2 properties into 13 paid off free and clear homes. That means that you're earning a residual income, a cash flow, right? This residual income, this elusive thing we've been talking about, of $130,000 plus every year. Now, with $130,000 a year income, residual income, can we start to look at retirement a little bit differently? Do we have to go back to work after retirement just to make ends meet? Hopefully not. Hopefully at $132,000 for most of us, we can start looking at a really comfortable retirement. We can start living in our retirement. We can still go out and visit our grandchildren and our children, live in our passions, and start doing the things that we really want to do. That's what this is all about. And I know that there are some of you here that are listening in and probably thinking to yourselves, you know what, that sounds great, Stephen, but I don't want to take 20 years to do it. Well, the great news is you don't have to. There are some amazing things that we do to help you accelerate the growth here as well. And we talk all about those different things as well. We have a lot of different opportunities there. But this is just to show you a very easy, tried and true, conservative method that our clients love and are implementing every single day right now. So I talked about those strict parameters. Going back to those strict parameters for just a moment. This is what it looks like on our last 1,000 deals that we've done. Now, if you look at this is kind of exciting because you can see we've got average purchase price there, average square feet, average year built, average ROI, which is your return on investment, right? So your average equity ROI, your average cash on cash ROI, average price per square foot, average property rehab, vacancy, average saved hours per deal. This gives you actual data and information. And if we're buying these properties that all fit into this small box, I have real life predictability. I can take this actual data and I can now make better decisions moving forward. Real estate is a business. And we have learned to treat it like a very well-oiled machine. If we put the materials in, we know what we're going to get out for the most part. We can make some amazing projections. And going back to the annual report that I mentioned or I referenced a little bit earlier, we know exactly what our rent projections are. We know actually that right now our overall success rate is we're at 101% on our rent projections, for example, right? We know these markets so well. We've been doing it so long. We've done thousands of deals in these different markets. And so we know what the rent's going to be. So when we're sitting down with a client, we tell them, hey, the rent on that property that you're about to buy is probably going to go for about $1,000 a month. We're 101% accurate on average in those projections. That creates some massive safety, right? That margin of safety and some clarity so that you can make a great decision moving forward. And that's why our clients love it so much. So at the end of the day, here's what we do. You get your game plan, you're assigned your project manager. Your project manager helps you to leverage the team of experts, access the very best properties. We then facilitate the funding, fixing, leasing, and management of those properties. We then help you get a comprehensive asset protection in place. And then you kind of just rinse and repeat, right? You just kind of go around and go back to your project manager who helps you connect you to the experts and all these things over and over and over again as you're buying, selling, expanding, and growing your portfolio. This is what it's all about. But again, we're doing that for you. So at the end of the day, I don't know which option is best for you. I don't know yet because I haven't met you yet, whether you're an option oneer, a learn it and do it yourself kind of individual, or an option twoer, a learn it and we do it for you. I just don't know what's best for you yet. So what I want to propose and what I want to do is give everyone here a gift. And this is something that, again, I kind of mentioned already, but I want to just help you understand the importance of this for just a second, which is this game plan. And as you can see there, we've got a link, and I'm actually going to copy and paste this link here in the chat so that you can actually click on this and request your own free customized game plan. This is something that other companies will charge hundreds of dollars for. And we have decided to give this for free because we understand that in order for us to have a really good client they have to, number one, understand their options and see how it can work for them first, right? That's what this game plan is all about, is helping you understand what we do and how it can benefit you best, and showing you options that you currently don't see. So my recommendation for everybody is to get this game plan, click on the link right now, and sign up for your free customized game plan. Now, just to talk about game plans for a second. If any one of you, if there's anyone that's listening right now who has ever built a home, I just want you to think about this analogy. I built a home several years ago, and as I was in the building process, there's very specific things that you have to do, right? You got to get your blueprint or your game plan, right? But you've got to get your blueprint. Once you've got your blueprint, you go and hire all the different, the general contractor. They get all the different trades together. You lay the foundation. You bring in all the different systems in the home. You put up the walls. You put in the HVAC and the electrical and the plumbing, and you're doing all these different things as you're pulling the house together. There's a very specific way that you do it, and there's a step-by-step process. And the person that's managing that project understands that whole process, right? That general contractor understands which one of the trades need to come in and do it first, and which one will go after, and so on and so forth. And you'll build this home, and it's beautiful. Now, can you imagine at the end of building this beautiful home, can you imagine as soon as it completed and the bank gave you the keys to your brand new home, or however that worked, could you imagine then going in and ripping it apart, board by board and brick by brick, until all of a sudden there was no home left? Like, could you imagine that? And hopefully your answer is no, I couldn't imagine that, because it sounds stupid. Who would do that, right? But the reality is most of us do that, financially speaking. But most of us don't even start with a plan. Most of us are just kind of, to stay with this analogy a little bit, instead of starting with a plan, we go to Home Depot, grab nails and 2x4s and start nailing things together, and hope that it will stand the test of time. Hope that it will be sturdy. Hope that it won't fall over at night on us, right? But that's how we do our financial lives. We don't start with a game plan. We just kind of go. We get a job and we start earning money, and oh man, I've got to pay for this thing because it came up, so I just pay for it, and that just wiped me out. So I'm gonna have to earn money back again, and we're kind of just taking our lives as they come, and we try to save, and we try to build this financial house. But the reality for most of us is once we get to retirement, we do that. We've built this financial home, right? This home of dollars, and at retirement we just kind of whittle it back down to nothing. We just spend it away. So my challenge for everyone is to start thinking differently. One of the things that we provide with our free customized game plan are options that you haven't thought of before, things that you don't know. And this isn't a slight on your intelligence. This is just because we've been doing this for years. And everyone that we sit down with, without fail, we're able to show them options of things that they just didn't know that they had available to them, things that they didn't know that they could do. So my recommendation, once again, is if you'd like to find a better option, if you'd like to find something that can help you bridge that gap, if you're looking towards retirement, or you're just even entering the marketplace, the workplace, and you'd like to start off on the right foot, come and find out what we can do for you here at Strongbrook. Get your free customized game plan. At the end of the day, we have programs ranging from $99 a month on up to $30,000 and everywhere in between. I don't know where you fit yet, but I do know that one of two things will happen after you get your game plan. Either you're going to love it, and you're going to want to, do something with us, or you're going to hate it and you're not going to want to do anything with us, right? One of those two things will happen, and I'm okay with either way. I'm not here to twist anyone's arm, except for if I can twist it a little bit for you to get your free customized game plan, I will. Now, I want to sweeten the deal just a little bit. For every single one of you that get your free customized game plan, that go onto this link right now, click on it, and receive your free customized game plan, I will instruct our team to offer you a ticket to a $499 wealth intensive. This is a 3-day intense. We dive into how to create wealth. We talk about creative as well as the done for you real estate. We open up the curtain, so to speak, and really go deep into how we do what we do, giving you all the ins and outs, letting you know how we created some of those relationships and different things like that. I mean, it is a tremendous 3-day event. So for anyone that clicks on that link, and when you have your game plan, if you mention the words free wealth intensive, we'll go ahead and give you, we will register you at no cost to you for our $499 3-day wealth intensive. It's unbelievable. Whether you're here in Utah or you're anywhere around the nation or around the world for that matter, we do live stream that 3-day wealth intensive as well. So we'd like to invite you as one of my guests in here with Sandy. We'd like to invite you as our guest to attend that 3-day wealth intensive. The way to do that, click on this link, go ahead and submit for your free customized game plan, and just mention free wealth intensive with the individual that you speak with. With that, Sandy, I'll go ahead and turn the time back over to you. Thanks for having me. And I don't know if we want to open it up for Q&A or not. That's up to you, but I've got a couple more minutes.
Okay, yeah, I had, first of all, thank you. I wasn't aware that we were going to offer something like the free wealth intensive, which it's a $500 program. So that's pretty amazing to take advantage of that. So thank you for that. I wasn't prepared for that one.
You're welcome.
Wow. So yeah, I had a few questions that I'd gotten from some people and so forth that are just kind of some of the common questions. So I know that you said that one of the things you said, there's all different levels that are in the program, from $99 a month on up to 30,000 or something. So the question for that is, can someone pick a level and then bump it up down the road if they decide that they want to do that?
Yeah, you can. There's a couple different options there, and without going into all of the details necessarily, we have our entry level is a $500 one time, and then $99 per month. That's what we call our MAP PSA, or My Action Plan. For an individual that's really looking to maybe prepare, get some education, that is a phenomenal program, and that kind of works as sort of a layaway program, because every dollar that you spend in it goes towards your eventual upgrade to one of the other programs. In other words, you're earning loyalty points, we call it, $1 for point that goes towards your eventual purchase of one of our transactional professional service agreements. So yes, you can. If you start at any other level, and those levels range from, again, they all over the board on up to $30,000. But if you start at one of our lower levels, you can upgrade. There is just an upgrade fee. So upgrading from the MAP PSA to any other level, there's no fee. But upgrading from one of our transactional PSAs to another, there is an upgrade fee. So it's definitely worth it to come in at the level that makes the most sense. At the end of the day, what we don't want to do, let me say what we do want to do. At the end of the day, we want to work with people that are serious and understand how the system can really, truly benefit them. Most people that come and work with us would like to start, they want to start at the highest level that they possibly can, just because it makes the most sense. And it'll save them money down the road. This is all about creating more wealth, right? So we're very incentivized to help them get into the appropriate program. And that's not always the highest program. I mean, there's oftentimes where we'll tell people to do the lowest program, even if they've got the money for the highest program, just because we know that they're not ready yet. We know that they're not at a point where they can actually transact yet. And I'm not interested in you spending several $1,000s with us. I'm not even interested in you spending several $100s with us if it's not going to make sense and you're not going to take advantage of it. Does that make sense?
Sure. So another question is, some people, I know that with real estate, you've got kind of the two components. You've got the income aspect of it, and then you've also got the growth aspect of it.
Yeah.
You go through, if someone has a preference for one of those over the other, is that something that they can sort of select, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Yeah, you are in control of your portfolio and the way that you're going to grow it. So we will always give recommendations based on your game plan that we helped you create and the goals that you're trying to accomplish. In essence, your game plan is all about helping you to accomplish your financial or retirement goals. So we're going to be focused on helping you do the exact things that you need to do to help you get there the fastest. Of course, managing that risk level for you. For me, when I look at our program, we have one of the lowest risk programs that are out there. To me, it's really, really aligned with that philosophy of this large margin of safety that Warren Buffett often talks about. But that doesn't mean that, personally, you may have a different risk tolerance than I do. You may think differently. So I'm completely okay with that. So yeah, if you wanted to invest in our cash flow markets, and you're not interested in our equity growth markets or vice versa, or maybe you want a mixture of both, that's completely up to you. We will bring properties that fit into your game plan, and then you can always say yay or nay. Yeah, and that's 100% up to you. Great question.
Okay, great. I got just two more.
Okay.
One is, what type of credit / income would someone need to have to participate?
Great question. We have helped college kids get into homes. And of course, we've helped millionaires get into homes, right? So there's a wide range there in income level. It's not even necessarily your income so much as your debt to income ratios, right? And if you've ever heard of that term, DTI, debt to income, it's the maximum allowable level of debt based on how much income you have. And I don't remember right now where it is. That changes and it kind of fluctuates and moves a little bit. But I can tell you credit scores. I can tell you that 620 right now is the minimum that you need for a primary residence. And a lot of people will start off buying their primary residence depending on where you are. One thing that we always recommend is if you are buying your primary residence, to buy it as an investment or like you would buy an investment. So often we go into these things and we put it on our consumer goggles and we make that purchase with our consumer glasses on rather than with our investor goggles on, And so doing one deal the wrong way can completely thwart your ability to go on and do further investments. And so anyway, so 620 for a primary residence, 680 is the low for an investment property. Obviously, the higher your credit score, the better rates that you can get, and all those things will determine and cash flows and all that kind of jazz, But anyway, hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, good. Yeah, that does. And then I understand that, and this is a question that I've actually had for myself when I first was made aware of this. I understand that you can take people who have IRAs or 401k plans, old 401k plans, stuff like that, and you can actually keep them qualified as an IRA and still be able to use that money to invest. Is that right? And how can you guys do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a term in the qualified funds realm, when you're talking about IRAs and self-directed or 401ks and Roths and all these different kinds of retirement accounts or qualified funds. There's a term called self-direction. And, in any of those retirement or qualified funds, they are typically overseen by somebody. Somebody is the director. Someone is overseeing where those monies are placed and how they're growing. But what most people don't know that they can do is take those funds and become that director themselves. They can literally self-direct those funds and choose where they're placed in anything that's a qualified investment. And there's a long list of qualified investments, everything from real estate to some antiques and precious metals. And there's a lot of different things that are qualified investments. So we teach people how to utilize that tool, how to become or how to self-direct those programs with a custodian that can help you in that process, so that you can utilize those funds to truly grow those accounts rather than seeing your typical 3-4% of growth, getting into a property where you're seeing 12%, 13%, 16%. All of a sudden you find that gap that we were talking about earlier is now closing a whole lot faster than it was before. And you have so much more control, which I always love. I hate the concept of give my money to someone else and give them the control. That's one of the things that I love about our system. Even our done for you system, we're still not controlling it. These are your properties. We're just doing the work for you. At any moment you can say, okay, I'm done, or okay, I want to sell this property. Okay, I want to get another, you're 100% in complete control. We're just executing on the action side, right? We're just doing all the actionable items to make it sure that it's done appropriately because we've had years and years of experience and huge success with it. So,
okay. Well, I said I only had that last question, but I lied.
You liar. Just kidding.
I have one more, and that is, I guess the question that comes to mind here is how does Strongbrook go about acquiring properties? Because I understand that you're looking for you don't just go out and willy-nilly buy a property here and a property there. How does that work?
Great question. So one of our core philosophies here when we're talking about investing is to never have one single point of failure. In other words, there are some companies that I know of who they only find their homes on the MLS, or they only do for sale by owners, or they only do auction properties or whatever. But for us, we don't ever want to have one single point of failure. So we have a multitude of ways that we source our properties, everything from bank owned to REO listings, different tapes, from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac that we've received and still get on a regular basis, to agents that we work with, to bird dogs and other, we have a variety of ways that we find and source these properties. We're in with the auctions. If you've ever experienced auction buying, it can be stressful. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could easily be edged out. Luckily, as we were growing our company, right around the time the market was crashing. So everyone was going out of business as we were on our rise, which was really great for us. And it put us in a position where we forged a lot of wonderful relationships with those lines and and companies that were in the know in that whole system. So it just opened up a whole lot of doors for us and allows us to really pick and choose and find the very best properties for our clients from whatever avenue it may come from. Because the reality is I think there's a false belief that the very best properties are found on the auctions. And yes, there's great properties you can find at auctions if you know what you're doing, but you can also be left holding a really horrible ticket. I mean, you can be left with, I know a guy that went to the auction and bought a second mortgage. Like, he thought he was buying a home, and in reality, he was buying a second mortgage, and he didn't even know that because he didn't have the research behind on all these different things. He didn't have the title work done, and he was just there, and he had to pay cash, and it was exciting, and it sounded good, So there's a lot of things that people don't know, but to answer your question again, is we source it in a variety of different ways, and sometimes we find deals on the MLS that kill some of the things that we're bidding on or looking at on the auction steps. And so for us, we're just trying to find the very best properties, the very best ways. And so we implement a number of different strategies to get those.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I think that is all the questions that I had, unless someone's got something they want to chat in the box, but I think we're actually good. So
okay.
I so appreciate you spending the time to educate us, and I definitely appreciate the free offer that you came up with out of I don't know how you do that,
but my pleasure. It's all for you and your viewers there, Sandy. So
we definitely appreciate that. So with that said, I think we're done. And for everyone who again who's online, if you want to just get your free copy of a game plan. So absolutely, if you want to say, hey, what would you do for me? There's a no obligation game plan that you can have made for you. I've done that, and that is something that I think is so great, is before you do anything, you have kind of a blueprint for where you want to go, which is, Stephen mentioned, that's really the key. So super excited for that. There's the link again. And with that, everyone, thank you very much and good night.